What was the turning point that made you see other Asian American women as community rather than competition? And I guess as a follow up on that question, are there any moments where you have to like remind yourself we are community, we're not competition? Like, does that old way of thinking ever flare up for any reason?
I feel like this goes into, and I'd love to hear, Chad, maybe like your thoughts on it too, because it's still
Sure.
something I'm trying to figure out is like this whole idea of like the scarcity mindset. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of something, again, sort of like Enrio, like if that's all you know and you're growing up in it and that's all you see, and when you open a magazine there's no one that looks like you, it does kind of like push forward that whole like homework girl thing, because you're like, oh well, I want to be the one that breaks the odds, like, and I want it to be me. That's something that can be really beautiful in a way because it's ambition, and I think everyone has that, but when it's kind of rooted in scarcity, it can become really confusing and isolating. And I think once I realized, oh, we're all feeling that way, like we all feel really alone. I don't know. Yeah, Chad, I'm interested to hear if you've kind of
Yeah,
dealt with.
I relate. I definitely relate to the impulse to try to be the one sometimes. I don't know if you've felt this. Well, you said it. You've isolated sometimes.
Mm.
I've realized sometimes trying to be the one has left me feeling like really alone and deserted, and it's just not fun. No matter how many like well-meaning, or allying friends I have that are people of other races in a room, if I'm there and I'm the only black person, it's miserable for me. It takes years. Like, it's something that I have been taught from my childhood. Think abundantly. There's always going to be more opportunity. You're going to do great and bring people that you care about with you. I've been taught that. But the other thing I've also been taught and shown is like there's only going to be one show for the black guy, and then there's going to be one for the black woman, or maybe there's only
Mm-hmm.
one for the two of them.
Yeah.
And you guys gotta duke it out and see who gets it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see that you do so many different forms of creativity. There's real power in being able to create opportunity for people who look like you. Like, that's a whole other dimension of this conversation. But the impulse is still there. The impulse is always still there to be the best one. And I hate that impulse. It's really inhumane, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And to be the best one, I think a lot of people would maybe assume, oh, that's like a selfish act. But again, I think it goes back to safety. If you have an immigrant story or like an American dream story, it all goes back to safety because, again, like a whole sector of people being incarcerated, after the camps, it's like, do everything you can to be perfect, to get those grade A's. And that's why
Right.
my mom says she is the model minority generation. That's like where it was born in our
Right.
family, because my grandmother was like, we just got out of the camps, do well
Right.
in school, like get a good job. All of our generational wealth has been taken away, right? So we have nothing. So you really need to build, and you need to build well. Otherwise, we have no shot at anything. And I think that's the kind of mindset that has continued to permeate the next generations, right? Of even me, of like, keep it going, Allie. Like, look at what your ancestors have done. Look at all that's been taken and all that's been rebuilt. Like, you need to continue that legacy on. And legacy is such a big word. But then we're trying to build still within
Right.
scarcity.
I've felt that same handed down form of thinking. Like, even though the probabilities are so against you, like, just try to give yourself the best chance. Just like try to seize the 7% chance that you can have a healthy life and have a family and be wealthy and all this other stuff. I still chase it while always like that voice you talked about being in the back of your head. Like, I still always know that voice is back there, which is that even if you are moving rationally, there's a larger power that's not. There's a larger power that sometimes can still just decide, I don't want you around here, or I want you doing this. It's just very difficult to reconcile the two. I kind of admire how you're able to like hold space for the concept that you all have repeated 1,000 times that I've already forgotten the name of. Can you say it again?
Enrio.
Oh,
Yes,
and
in Rio, how you're able to like hold space for being graceful, for lack of a better word. I can see your other emotions in there. I can see anger and resent and all the other stuff. That's just really difficult to do, man. So I admire it.